Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 was really intriguing right from the outset. Diving straight into the thick of it, the game really does not hold anything back. Clearly, the devs have learned what can happen if you start out way too slow. Thanks for that, Assassin's Creed 3.
It's only a game. Why you have to be mad?
Despite knowing how good the first game was, I must admit I was still surprised at just how much I enjoyed this sequel. Sammins from the Beta Network here, and in this video, I'll help you answer the question, should you play Kingdom Come Deliverance 2? Heads up, I was given a copy of this game for review, but don't worry, that doesn't mean I'm going to hold back on my thoughts, good or bad.
Okay.
So the narrative is easily one of the best parts of Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, starting you off in the boots of Father Godwin as you help to defend a castle before throwing you back in time to Henry and Lord Capon riding to a foreign land was such a great way to give a sense of what to expect without showing too much. I can't say that I am always a big fan of the start in the middle approach, but with a game like Kingdom Come, where we know that it still has the potential to slow things right down, this introduction worked perfectly, and it only gets better from there. With the constant twists and turns along the way, as well as the optional quests that can change the course of events, this story is honestly hard to predict at times. Knowing who to trust and what to believe becomes a central part of this narrative. There were genuinely quite a few moments where I was caught by surprise, not expecting certain events to take place or characters to respond in a certain way, and the narrative payoff to these moments was always really rewarding, no matter if it was good or bad. I won't say too much more on the story for the sake of avoiding spoilers, but this game's dialogue, both in cutscenes and out in the world, are done so well that you will feel like you are living in the world yourself. However, that's not to say that this game doesn't have its fair share of awkward dialogue. Occasionally, characters will have conversations that would only make George Lucas proud.
Sometimes I collect herbs for the apothecary or help in the tavern.
This didn't bother me too much, but it did make the dialogue just sound a bit hollow at times. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 has such a great sense of humor as well. Characters will respond to your dialogue options with some hilarious quips.
I don't understand this at all, but girls like poems. All of them. Ma said so.
Recite to your ma then, and give her my greetings.
This helps to lighten the mood of a pretty intense story, and most of the time, it got a genuine laugh out of me. So if you've played the first Kingdom Come game, then you know almost exactly what to expect with the gameplay here, though there have been a couple of tweaks. More on this later, but for all those who are new to the series, here is a quick rundown. Realism is a key focus of Kingdom Come Deliverance. Often, most games that claim this will still allow for some gamey tropes, whereas here, it's a lot more strict. If you walk your horse into a guard, even by accident, they may attack. Steal someone's items and try to sell them off, you'll have to wait for a while unless you're happy to get caught. Kill a guard, steal his armor and walk up to his companions, they will notice his armor and attack you. You are in a world that requires you to follow the rules, or if you decide to be a criminal, as you do have a choice, you will have to cover up your crimes if you don't want to get caught. The game revels in these realism mechanics, and oftentimes it causes it to be more challenging than you might expect. For example, one mission tasked me to sneak past guards that were on the lookout. I had to resist the urge to unleash my inner dark knight with a mass murder problem, as every time I attempted to stealth kill, I would eventually get caught. Whether it was because a guard saw me from a distance or someone found the body, an alert almost always occurred. This made me have to think about my choices more carefully, and I really enjoyed that. This also applies to when you are in battle. You actually have to think about the situation you're in rather than just spamming the attack button.
If you just continue to press the same button like X, 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 and Y, 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 and X, X, and Y, Y, Y again, you'll be sucked.
As I mentioned, the gameplay, particularly in combat, has seen some slight changes. Instead of the 5-point star system that was used in the first game, this sequel has opted to a 4-point system, with the bottom being a stab. This made combos much easier to pull off than the first, and just made combat as a whole feel a lot more fluid. You still use your right stick or mouse to choose the direction to attack from, but the combat just feels much smoother. Counters also feel more satisfying to perform, allowing for a lot of these counterattacks to do some serious damage. That is, unless your opponent counters your counter. The gameplay as a whole definitely feels much better than the first, but it's still not perfect. At times, riding your horse can still feel quite awkward. Your steed may occasionally be unresponsive as you try to steer it around obstacles, and instead just run forward, causing your head to collide with a branch. Again, this isn't a big deal, it just becomes a little annoying when navigating your horse through tighter areas. But let's be honest, you won't use your horse that much, especially when you have access to the fast travel travel. Whilst fast travel is nothing new, in Kingdom Come 2, it is done in a really thoughtful way that doesn't make you feel like you are skipping the adventure through the plains. Random chance encounters can occur as you travel from place to place, and you have the option to respond to them or attempt to keep moving. I really did like this aspect of the game, as it removed a lot of the trudging through similar scenery while still allowing me to enjoy the encounters that can be found out in the open world. Another big positive in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is its visual design. The environments look absolutely stunning, and the game features some really decent character models. The only problem is that in dialogue moments, the facial expressions and lip sync can be out of whack, giving these characters a sort of janky appearance.
I expect you're the master of this fortress.
The Lord Jesus Christ be praised.
It's not too big a deal, but it did make some serious moments come across as slightly funny with all the unique expressions. I did also encounter a fair few moments where blurry pixels would flicker around different areas on screen, which can be a little distracting and break the immersion, but this only happened relatively infrequently. Unfortunately, it was actually the audio department which was the biggest letdown in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I don't mean the music, dialogue, or sound effects themselves, as they all played their part well, but instead, it was the actual audio playback that was the issue. I frequently had problems with the audio sounding like it was crackling, or sound effects getting cut off too early, as well as dialogue just not matching lip movements or subtitles.
I'm in the service of Saranush of Lipa, and I'm looking for his nephew.
I'm messing with his head first. People who lose control make mistakes.
Did I hear correctly that you're a priest?
Most of my playthrough was with headphones, and I'll admit that I noticed it slightly less when using my TV speakers, but this was something that happened way too regularly for me to ignore. I wouldn't be surprised if an update comes to fix this, but at the moment, it can be a little annoying hearing audio cut in and out at random times. I played Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 on my base PS5, and I must say, it performs rather well. Mind you, I did choose the performance option for my playthrough, and I'm glad I did, because it runs quite smoothly with the game hitting 60 FPS relatively consistently. I did try it in fidelity mode, but the performance difference is quite substantial, with the frame rate dropping significantly. So if you have a base PS5, stick to performance mode. I also encountered my fair share of crashes. I had a near perfect experience for the first 10 hours, but then had the game crash on me multiple times across the next 2. Admittedly, after this stint of crashes, the game seemed to stabilize again, as I hadn't had any crashes since. But it is worth being aware of this, especially with the game's limited save options, as a crash at the wrong time could lead you to replaying up to an entire hour's worth of content. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is an absolutely brilliant experience. The satisfying yet challenging combat, combined with an exciting narrative, creates a compelling experience that will have you hooked for hours on end. There were a few moments of frustration, mainly with the occasional visual bugs and glitches, but that didn't stop me from really getting immersed in this sequel's world.
The disturbing creatures, the mind-boggling and mind-bending psychology.
Do yourself a favor and give Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 a shot. I am sure you won't regret it.